So I went for a drive with Joe Achilles in his M3 Touring. Now, if you're not familiar with Joe, he's amassed 236,000 subscribers to date, over 63.7 million views on YouTube. And we chatted about everything around his new M3 Touring that he's recently picked up. He's had a few M3s recently, along with a general car chat, touching on things like the M5 Touring. A really fascinating chat with Joe, and it's well worth checking out the rest of this video. And a film worth sort of sitting back and relaxing and enjoying. So yeah, cue the film. So Joe Achilles, your M3 Touring. Yeah, tell me about your car. We'll start off like that, nice and easy.
Yeah, well, firstly, great to properly meet you, mate.
Thank you.
And I do watch your content. I think it's really good. I really find some of it fascinating. It's great to properly meet you. Thanks for coming out to see me.
No, that's all right. That's not a problem. Big fan of yours as well, to be fair. I think it probably started my channel, to be fair. I started in 2017. You were a couple of years before that.
Yep.
Certainly saw a lot of your stuff on the M135i. And yeah, people on my channel, if you're not familiar with Joe, I'm sure you are. YouTube tells me that you are anyway, because it says people watch your stuff. So
that's good.
I'm sure they know who you are.
Yep.
We're in your amazing new M3 Touring. You've had a few M3s recently over the last couple of years.
I have. Yes. I'm a bit of a BMW obsessive, I think some people say. And this is, believe it or not, my second M3 Touring in the past 13 months. And it's my fourth or fifth. 1 sec, 1, 2. I'm not just being in.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. No, my fourth G Series M3.
Yep.
So I had a rear-wheel drive Portimao Blue, which was awesome when they first came out. I think end of or early 2021.
Yep.
Then I went for grey, Dravit grey M3 Saloon X Drive, and then a year ago I went for the first Touring, which was also Dravit grey. Maybe not the most adventurous with colours.
Hey, I'm the same. I got limestone grey Golf R. I like that kind of subtle blend-in kind of look.
It's very, it's a classy. Your car's very classy. I've just seen it for the first time, and it's very cool. And then at the end of last year, Tony Lewis rang me and said, "Mate, there's I've had a cancelled order.
Yeah.
A customer ordered a British Racing Green individual M3 Touring," and I was like, "Oh, well, I've had mine at that point. I think I had mine about 8 months," and I was like, "Well, number one, I don't need another car. Number two, the internet will hate me if I change my cars too often."
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things, double-edged sword, I think, on with YouTube. Of course, I probably buy, as in finance, cars like this too often, and if I did have a YouTube channel, I would definitely keep them for longer. But you've kind of got to feed the machine a little bit, but then at the same time you do get offered some really cool opportunities and deals. And so I've had this for about 6 weeks. It's just had its run-in service, so it's done, I think, about 1,130 miles. So it's still fresh.
just run in. Yeah, it really is a hard balance. This feels like use every day and just do everything, and you also get content out of it as well if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think I've always fantasized about having I've always loved Tourings, wagons, estates. Something like an RS6 to me has always stolen my heart, even though I'm a BMW and Porsche guy probably over anything. Who in their right mind, car people, can't appreciate an RS6? And I think a lot of that, Paul, okay, it's the speed, the pace, the sound, all the rest of it, but a lot of it is the fact that it is an unassuming, well, they're not that unassuming, are they? But
they're pretty big.
They're pretty big. Yeah, there are lots of telltale signs, but at the same time, it's like it's a very practical car. And I've always thought, like, if my parents were wealthy when I was younger, it was always, I wish if Dad could have any car. It wasn't a Ferrari or Porsche or a Lamborghini. It was if he had an RS6. I mean, imagine being dropped off to school in an RS6 or something.
It's the every car for everything, really.
It is.
It can literally just do so much, so practical, so fast, so crazy. And I mean, you just mentioned you may well be checking out the M5 Touring.
M5 Touring.
Which is obviously, that's more direct competitor to the RS6, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, we're going back to this. I guess. When BMW finally announced that they were because don't get me wrong, I think M340i Tourings are brilliant packages.
You're right, the M340i, and actually my BMW friend who
Yes.
lives near me, that's the car he kind of uses quite a lot, and I think that kind of says it all. You've got a whole stack of BMWs to choose from.
Yep.
Taking out an M340i.
Yeah, it's one of
the D.
It's all the D. Yeah, it's one of the best all-round packages. Arguably, again going back to the Dravik Grey M3 Touring I just got rid of, that car went back to Sony with 7,000 miles on the clock, and which isn't much for 12 months. But obviously, I get a lot of press cars. I've got cars like my M2. My other half works for Audi, so she's always got something quite nice. So it doesn't get used all the time. But that car, I never took it on track. I never took it abroad. I never really got to drive it or push it hard. It went back to Tony like almost showroom condition, and I thought to myself, and I jokingly said to Tony a few times, it's like I'd have been so much better off with a 330D Touring, and it would have cost me a lot less in the process. But obviously that's what these cars, they're not, you know, that's not the point of it. The point of it is I do drive it like we're driving today, normally 95% of the time, and when I do occasionally take it along my favourite road and it's quiet, or I take it abroad and I give it a bit of a, you know, kick in, it's just amazing, and it comes alive, and you really appreciate what it is. I mean, jumping in here with the carbon buckets and stuff, you do get that initial, oh, this is a bit special. But I think the fact that we've now got a dog who you've just met,
I love
shout out to Peggy, is you know, that we can put the crate in the boot if we need to. I also do a bit of mountain biking in the summer, and I like to put my bikes in the car, and there's just that practicality. Want to do a Euro road trip this year with Lou and my parents, and I could get pretty much any Audi or BMW press car or Porsche, but I think this would be the one, you know. Like, you can't
come back to this, and I agree. Like, I like my mountain biking and road cycling as well, and the same reason why I have a Golf R. It's the same sort of philosophy, really.
Yep.
Something that can fit everything in. No one's really going to complain.
Nope.
You know, you can have dogs in it, you can have pets, you can have friends in it, and they're not going to be shaken around. And I've got to say, this feels so compliant.
It is. It's good. Very good. I'm in my M1. In fact, we're in sport suspension by accident. But yeah, not that comfort makes that much of a difference. There is one caveat though, is we're on winter tyres.
Oh wow, we're at Silverstone straight away.
We're at Silverstone, yeah. There's a new hotel, and there's the wing. Yeah, literally. When you get, I said, I'm about 7 minutes from Silverstone. You're like, really? Yep, 7 minutes away.
I love it round here. I've spent a lot of time around Porsche Silverstone's Experience Centre.
Yes,
I've gone there because, well, I've never owned a Porsche myself, but I've gone there about 20 times.
Wow.
And I've driven, done a lot of their like 90-minute experiences.
Yes.
So GT2 RS, GT4s, GT3s, 911s, turbos, everything.
They're brilliant, aren't they?
And it's a good fun little track. So yeah, a happy place. This is like, couldn't be any happier for me here. It's mega.
Yeah.
Oh. And this sounds
yeah, it sounds. I mean, it sounds okay. I think. I think. And
would you say your original, your M3 that you did a little bit more to? Would you say that had a little bit more noise?
Definitely, it was definitely louder. The original. So my first G80 M3, we put a full Miltech exhaust on it. When I say full, cat back. So got rid of the OPFs, which BMW UK definitely didn't like.
You can't really tinker with any cars anymore. I think a lot of tuning companies are going to find it quite difficult going forward as well.
I think they are. I mean, everything's getting dumbed down. I think a lot of it has in BMW. I think a lot of it has to do with them protecting their own end performance stuff, which I have to say over the last few years, especially the G series stuff, is pretty weak.
You're not a fan. What about like the 4 exhausts on the M2?
No, the pyramid exhaust. No, I'm not a fan of that at all. Even things like, I know they've just recently released the centre lock wheels for the M2, 3 and 4.
Oh wow.
Which when I heard about them, I was like, okay, well, they're probably going to be lighter. They're actually probably going to perform a little bit better. So therefore, end performance, great. But then I think if you want those wheels, you have to then replace the hubs. And if you want the wheels and the hubs, I believe, don't quote me on this, they're about 17 grand. So it's like, who in their right mind is going to spend 17 grand on some wheels and hubs? You're just not. Like, you can buy anything aftermarket wheel wise for 4 or 5 grand. There you go.
sounds like something.
Yeah.
What do you think's on track?
That sounds pretty raughty, doesn't it? That sounded like a Valkyrie or something.
Yeah,
something
yeah.
quite thunderous.
Oh, man. I would literally, if I was you, I'd come here, park up, and just stand outside.
Yeah.
It is like literally like well, you know, like Misha the Nürburgring.
Yes.
This is like that. This is how it feels like.
Yeah, if only they had. Imagine they had TF sessions every evening at Silverstone. I would literally be there all the time.
Everyone would have. I'd have a season. Everyone would have some sort of season pass.
Yes.
It'd just be.
I would just mirror exactly what Misha does. Yeah. Talk about. I mean, he is absolutely killing it, Misha.
He's well, yeah. I followed him similar to the time when I started following you when you first started making content.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely smashed it now. Over 1 million subs.
Yes. He's amazing, and he's stayed true to. He knows how to drive, and he's just the same Misha that I met many years ago. But he's just so grateful, and I think he's very grounded and very grateful as to what, like. He obviously earns a lot of money now. He can do basically what he wants to a certain extent. Yeah. But he's still very grounded and values money and life like he did when I first met him, which is awesome.
Feels very down to earth kind of guy, and even like I don't even think he even has a car. It seems like he doesn't really sort of.
No, he's got a Polestar.
Oh, okay.
Polestar 2.
My friend does the 2.
The fast, whatever the fast Polestar 2 is, the one with the not Bilstein. What suspensions it got?
Yeah, that's a cool. I didn't know he even had that. You should document that. That's
yes. I think he bought his own one around about now. So maybe that's news here. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
But obviously he gets. I don't think he that's all he needs to get around sort of Nürburgring and all the rest of it is because he's always in other people's cars. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent.
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's what this is about. This is kind of just like easy, casual talking, to be fair.
Yeah. No, well, I think as we're coming through here in the other direction, you mentioned the M5 Touring.
Yep.
So that's obviously, that it was leaked or whatever months and months ago, probably 6 months ago, maybe.
Someone brought a camera in or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, there's a lot of these accidents that seem to happen on purpose, in my opinion. But
so it's so hard to keep anything a secret now. Everyone's got a camera. Everyone's got social media. Something will come out.
It is, but I think it also doesn't do the brand any harm. Like they might act like, oh no, it's leaked, but actually, all it does is cause a stir on the internet and get people talking about it.
No such thing as bad publicity at the end of the day. You want to build up the hype, and
you do.
I'm super excited to hear what you kind of think of it and your thoughts.
Yeah, well, it's obviously the first
compared to this, because I was driving up here and I was like, would Joe want that to replace this? I know you literally only just got this, and I don't want to take away being grounded in this car. It's mega, smaller size as well.
Yes.
510 horsepower. I mean, you're not going to complain.
No, I mean, on this journey we probably used about 150 horsepower maximum. But I think when that was leaked and when they started talking about it, and then BMW officially kind of said, yeah, it's happening, whatever. Obviously, I got asked so many times, oh, right, are you going to get an M5 Touring? Now, firstly, I just want to clear something up. Now, if I didn't get a very, very, very good deal with Tony Lewis and Barry BMW, because we got a very good relationship, I certainly wouldn't have had 4 M3s with this generation, and I probably, to be honest, maybe wouldn't have this car, because as we know, monthlies, finance, etc. is so expensive these days. So long story short, this is already a big luxury for me, and a bit excessive as to what I need.
It's a mixture of the YouTube stuff coming in, and
exactly.
The main difference with this is the special paint, isn't it?
Special paint, but I also absolutely love this car. I think in terms of the chassis itself, I think the G Series M cars are brilliant, and so the thought of an M5, which is definitely going to cost, I think an M5 Touring, I reckon, don't know, this is not gospel, but I'm going to estimate that it's going to start at £140,000.
Yeah,
and once you've got a few must-have options, it's probably going to be 150 grand, which is a massive amount of money and a massive amount more than this is. So that's the first thing is, can I afford one? No, definitely not, even if I wanted one. The next thing that's not put me off, because I haven't driven it or even seen the car properly, I've seen a lot of camo ones when I was out in Germany at the end of last year, but is this, you mentioned it, the size and the more so even the weight. Now I'd heard from a good friend of mine who I'm not going to throw under the bus, but he was winter tyre testing about a year ago, and the place where he gets all of his cars sort of done and the tyres changed, they had a M5 Touring come in to get some new tyres put on it, and it went on some scales, and he said it was 2.7 something tons.
Wow, and that's because that's what I was going to talk to you with. The RS6 obviously weighs a fair amount.
Yeah.
With the technology, with the safety kit, with everything that goes into cars from 2024 now.
Yep.
All those bings and bongs have to add weight as well, surely.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. As you say, all the bings and bongs, all the pedestrian safety, all the stuff that we just don't think about. And so then you need more power, and what does that mean? That means more weight, and then it means bigger brakes, and then it means bigger suspension components. And it's just like it's almost like a vicious circle, isn't it?
It never ends.
Never ends.
It literally, and one of the reasons I have a 3-door manual Golf R.
Yep.
The reason why is for the weight. Manual saves a little bit of weight. 3-door saves a little bit of weight. It's pre-OPF. It's pre when they started sort of really. The Mark 8 Golf R weighs a good 150 kilos more than mine.
Yep.
And that just makes a huge difference.
Yep.
Huge difference in everything.
It does. I mean, you notice it even in, especially in my M2. I notice when that car's got a full tank of fuel and when it's got no fuel.
Yeah.
Because that little bit of weight change, what is it? Probably 50 kilos or something. I don't know, 60 litres of fuel. It makes a huge difference to feel. I mean, that's what all these cars lack is feel, because they're heavy. Okay, the electric steering doesn't help, but it's mostly down to weight. You know, you jump in. I just had a Spider RS, which has also got an electric steering rack, I think. Shit, do they? I think they do. Anyway, regardless, Porsche mask their steering racks really well, or their electric power steering systems, and that car, because it weighs, it's still I think about 1,400 kilos, so it's still not light, but just to drive something that's 1,400 kilos in this day and age, it feels more like a go-kart than anything else I've driven. And but yeah, so going back to the M5, it's really it's going to be really expensive, it's going to be really heavy, it's going to be big. The 5 Series, I mean, I've only driven the i5 M60. I think that, I'm not a massive electric car fanboy.
Oh yeah, I'm not either. We are on the same boat on that one. I have a million things to kind of say about it. It actually scares me, the amount of people that kind of get into electric cars and the amount of money that has been lost from a lot of people from, say, buying Taycans at 170 grand and then being told they're worth 90 grand as they drive out the door. And okay, for some people, they can afford to lose that, but a lot of people out there, you can't. That can be 10 years working for some people.
Absolutely.
It's a scary place.
It is.
Yeah, Polestar's another one as well, actually.
yeah. Well, if Porsche GT cars are depreciating and taking a hit at the moment, everything else is going to, especially electric cars. But yeah, and I don't know, the current or the new 5 Series, I'm not the biggest fan of anyway. So as a platform to build on, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. They've just announced that they're going to sell them in America or North America.
Oh wow! Okay, so that's in keeping with the RS6, didn't they? They went up to America. That's where the market is. That's where the less emissions, less rules, I guess.
Yeah. And that'll be interesting, because I know the RS6 has done relatively well over there. I think the hype was really big, but actually, when it came to people putting their hands in their pockets and buying the things, I think the sales numbers aren't actually that big on the RS6 in the States. But it was more of a sort of publicity piece for them, which I think all M cars and RS cars, that's really what they are, isn't it? They're
not. Yeah, sell the smaller ones.
Exactly. You got your Golf R. Golf R did sell and has sold in big numbers relatively, but it's like, it is like a, you got your R line because you kind of, it's a bit like your neighbour's Golf R or your Golf R, and it's like, okay, I'm kind of feel like I'm part of the family, and and it's always there as like the magnet. And I think that's what the M5 Touring. It's going to be interesting. I'm driving it in a couple of weeks. I think the embargo is a few months off, so I won't be able to say much, but I'll say anything. Apart from maybe I can't talk about its driving dynamics. But interestingly, it's going to be it's being held at in Austria at I've forgotten the name of the track. That's where we did the initial M2 drives. So you think, well, if it's on track, then it's not going to embarrass yourself, because they're not going to launch a car like that if it feels bad on track. But it is quite a bold move, because really, I mean, how many people aside from me and a couple of journalists taking the M3 Touring on track? Who's going to take the M5 Touring on track? Probably nobody. But if they're launching it there, then something tells me that it's going to be relatively good. It's like at the end of last year, I was out in Spain with Porsche on their Cayenne E hybrid launch, and that was also road and track. And okay, the track ones were only the turbo and the turbo GT package, so but they were like 2.6, 2.7 tons, and oh my goodness, like over one lap they were just like ridiculous.
It's just ridiculous. Like and I'm thinking, because I had the chance to spend some time in a BMW XM label red.
Oh yes, yeah. What a ridiculous name.
What a ridiculous name. The biggest car, like genuinely bigger than the place I live in. It's huge. Yeah. But that had 4.4 V8 in it, hybrid.
Yes.
Good for benefiting kind.
Oh yeah. Saving the planet. That 3-ton SUV saving the planet. Yeah.
The best thing for the world.
Yeah.
And I'm going to guess they're going to use that similar engine in an M5.
Yes. Yeah, that's something I hadn't.
Not a secret.
And I think that's why part of the reason why it's going to weigh so much is all that big lump, which is nothing new in the M5. It's they've had a 4.4 in there for years, but it's going to have all that hybrid, that battery. I'm guessing it's going to be the same. That's one thing I haven't.
Probably almost be the same sort of setup then, because if that is the hybrid as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a straight. That car is 186 grand, I think, the label red. They made 500 of them.
Yeah, they've sold 5 of them maybe in the world.
The amount of people, I had it on my drive because I was looking after it for my friend, and it was like amount of people coming up and looking at it. They were so curious. It certainly is extrovert, gets attention. I mean, if you want something that stands, that if like next to an Urus, you'd look at the XM label red. It's one of that.
Yes.
But for a concept, I didn't really understand any of it. I don't know what's going up ahead of us.
No.
He was broken down before as we were coming down.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking as we're getting.
Is it a French car?
It's a I was stuck behind a Peugeot.
It's either a JLR or a French car. I mean, it's got to be if it's broken down.
Oh, you're right. It's a Peugeot. 67 plate. So how would a 2017 car break down?
Someone's sitting in it.
It's a Peugeot.
Looks like the driver's run away.
I mean, I would just walk away. Personally. You just leave it.
Yeah.
Find something else. But yeah, we'll try and as I know we're getting near to you, and I would like to see what your M2's like. Summarise your M3. So recommend it to people. I guess it's.
Yeah, I mean,
and actually, that's one thing I wanted to say. You like to tinker it to suit your exact needs with the exhaust, and sometimes even like I'm guessing you do things with the spacers and camera and stuff. There should really be a Joe Achilles spec. You should be able to walk into a dealer and say, "Can I just have my M3 as yours?" Because you know your stuff. So
well, yeah, it's a bit of trial and error, as it always. As we'll find out in the M2. I went way too far with that car. I got way carried away with tuning and it turned it into a racing car, which was, well, not a racing car, but it was a horrible road car. So I've reeled it back, and I think I've always experimented. You said you watched my early videos, M135Is and stuff. I've always experimented with stock road cars. And I think there's a few things, again, due to regulations, like you mentioned, wheel spaces. These days wheels have to be a certain amount of distance inside the wheel arches to tick the right box and stuff. So
they put that weird plastic on the side.
That's
to make the regulations, the width.
Just to cheat those little things. So I think things like the exhaust, it's just a back box. Does it make that much of a difference sound wise? A little bit. I mean, it's a bit more drony in here. It's a bit louder on the outside, but it's minimal because I still have the OPFs in there and stuff. I've actually got some Edelweiss wheels, which you're probably laying over, or you've laid over in shots I've sent you.
I'll put stuff in Joe's footage. I'll put in.
yeah, on a nicer day when the car was clean. The first, it hasn't been clean since. But yeah, just little touches, just to kind of make it my own. But not a massive thing. Royal steering wheels. Yeah, absolutely love Jacket Royal. I've used them for years, and this particular one's got lovely green stitching. It's subtle, but it's just but there's not much. I mean, there's not a great deal you can do with these.
I love the interior. I mean, the
seats are mega, aren't they? I mean, the seat. A lot of people, without sounding sexist, I know when Lou first got in the car, she was like, "What is that?" I call it the carbon pod piece holder, and I think, again, without sounding sexist, like us guys, we sit there on sofas with our legs open or whatever, but I think, ladies tend to like to put their legs together in a lot of scenarios and on longer road trips. And when Lou got in this car, she was like, what do I do with my legs? Because you got this. So there are, and obviously getting in and out, living with it as a daily, the normal M Sport seats are arguably or definitely better. But yeah, as a package, as a car, I mean, as you talked about earlier on, the ride quality is amazingly good for something with so much performance and capabilities.
It's so good. I have to kind of remember as well, because I'm more used to sporty cars as well. Pheasant.
Yeah. Come on, Fez. There we go.
Yeah, it's like my tolerance, and probably yours as well. We can probably take a bit more.
Yep.
But yeah, you could daily this. You generally could live with this every day. You copes with the bumps,
the undulations. Yeah. I mean, the roads around here, and then there's the performance side of it, and we'll just do a little launch here because it's a quiet road.
Oh, let me play around with this. I'll let you know when my GoPro 7 does its thing. Yeah, there we go. Go on.
Yep.
Let's.
So yeah, let's just going launch control active. Here we go. And there's 60. I mean, it's
so good. It's always faster as a passenger.
Yeah, so true.
Just pins you.
Yeah, I mean that's and that's bone stock power wise. Like the last thing I think, in my opinion, this car needs is more straight line pace.
It's all good, but even now it's slightly greasy. We're in April 2024, but it's still pretty cold.
Yep.
That was so controlled.
Yep.
And I'm guessing when you had it with like your rear wheel drive one, it might have gone out a little bit.
Yeah.
This is just it hooks up.
It hooks up, but then the other thing is, obviously, you've got at the push of a preset button, you've got
two-wheel drive,
and yeah, trust me, again, we won't do too much, but.
Oh my god. That is just you think of 2-car garages and stuff. I think it's a 1-car. You could just have this, just have it for life. That's my theory with the Golf R anyway. I bought it outright when in 2017.
Yep.
You feel like something like this. Wait for maybe it someone to take the depreciation off a little bit. You could just own it and just have it forever.
You could.
And I've seen some M3s, some 2021 sort of models, maybe the rear wheel drive ones, hovering around to like the 50-55 grand mark now. That's a lot of car for that sort of money.
It's a lot of car. Russ from Swift Performance.
We're on like an airfield now.
Yeah. So this is Tow Western, which is where Carwow used to do a lot of their drag race videos. Not so much these days. Because
they get priced out. That's all.
No,
I'm guessing it's to rent it.
Yeah, they had to rent it, and I've done a few here as well. But I think it's because they're quite a busy little aerodrome, so trying to find like a window of time to do drag racing is quite difficult.
That's another thing. Actually, just briefly on that, I think you did some near where I am, near Hemel.
Yes,
I think you did. Because I do a lot of like running as well, like marathon running.
Okay.
I think I ran round the one that you were doing a test on or something. You did a drag race on it. I'm trying to think. It might have been something.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The drift works.
Drift
something or other. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, that was sketchy, that place, because it was like it's
really broken tarmac.
Really broken. It was a very short seat. This is a test for the suspension. It wasn't quite quarter of a mile, and it was a great bit of land, but sketchy for doing drag races. And then there was tyre barriers, so you had to stop before you hit them, and literally there were like 5 tyres deep, so you wouldn't want to hit them.
Heart in your mouth with those sort of stuff. Actually, this is actually great road to kind of test a car like this. And well, actually, are you at SMMT next month?
I am, yes.
So yeah, I'll see you there as well. To be fair,
they've got very similar sort of
surface. It's exactly like this, and this is actually generally British roads anyway.
Yes.
And are we in like full firm at the moment?
No, we're in full comfort at the moment. Oh no, we're in middle ground. So that's now full firm. But again, remember we got winter tyres, which do definitely take that edge off. And then we put it into comfort, and it's a bit softer. But anyway, I got sidetracked as always.
No, it's fine. You're the same as me. I could talk about cars forever. We could be in here for about 4 hours, and we'd still just
ramp. It's a proper podcast.
Topic. Yeah.
But I think as a package on sale today, yes, they're not cheap. I think they start about 85 grand before discounts, which are available these days.
And seats are musts. I know it's expensive because you have to get the package.
I wouldn't say they're a must. I think if you're using this as your daily everything car, then they're probably not a must at all. I think the normal M Sports are a better seat. But if you want support and if you want, the interior, they make the interior look amazing. They're great seats. I think there's no right or wrong seat in these.
Another nice Golf R. It's the car to do everything. Everyone still has them, the Mark 7s.
It is. It really is.
Knocking around. But yeah, I don't know. I'm half thinking the seats kind of are a must because I spent time in the M2, and it didn't have the buckets, and I sort of like to raise that specialness.
Yes.
And I think I'm with you. This little pouch in the middle, the car
polite,
a nicer way to put it.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't work in a manual.
Yep.
I think that would be quite hard, which again is a bit of a shame.
Yep.
I think if you're going for it, I think you should go for it. Just also resale values as well.
Yes.
I don't know if you can retrofit these seats. I'm not quite Matt Armstrong, but I'm sure there's ways you could play around a little bit.
I think they're just the same rails, so it's just getting hold of the seats. And I think when I was looking originally, I wanted to get some for my M2, and
of course.
They're about 18 grand or something from BMW. So I think if you were to get some out of a crashed,
unfortunately there probably are some out there, to be fair.
Yep.
Sadly, you've got is it pole position seats in your? I'm trying to think. You've got proper bucket.
SPG XLs. So Recaro. I think they're a form of pole position.
Okay.
But they're like SPG, so they're slightly longer and bigger. And a slightly longer and bigger chap.
You can't keep buckets in my Focus RS, because I had the Focus RS edition.
Yep.
That came with buckets from standard. That was a game changer. It just made everything feel special.
Yep.
Really did hold you in. You're just completely fixed. And ultimately, it doesn't matter how sorted your car is.
Yep.
If the driver isn't fixed, you might as well just forget about it. You might as well just be in a Fiat Multipla or something.
100%.
To a point. Now, I don't. Yeah. The standard seat. I have a small gripe with some of the standard seats from BMW. I'd love them to be a little bit more bucky. They just feel too M-light.
Yep.
I found that in like if you've ever driven, like the M1 35i's in the past, the M140s.
Yep.
Better in the new generation, the ones that you started your channel on.
Yes.
Bit leathery, a bit too relaxing.
Yep. They're very standard, really, weren't they?
It was just like a standard 1 series. Seats.
Yeah. And I think they do make a huge difference. The feel-good factor, and like you said, the support when you really push you on, like on track and stuff. I know people that have got M2s and they're like, no, they're okay. It's like, no, they're honestly, especially in a manual, if you're trying if you're hard on the brakes, you're trying to heel and toe, and you're moving around the whole seat, so you're holding the wheel to support yourself, and you're trying to use your legs. It's honestly, like, now I've got my buckets and my harnesses, I'm not having to do any of that. I'm hard on the brakes, which now are much more powerful, and I've got much more grip, mechanical grip. So I'm slowing down. The G-forces are much higher, but because I'm so supported, I'm not having to worry about it. I can focus on the heel and toe, and my legs are nice and relaxed. And that takes, actually, the first time I took that out, the first track day, I was still supporting myself, and it wasn't until right at the end of that day I was like, Joe, calm, like, gentle.
Relax your shoulders,
relax everything. You're not moving anywhere, and then when you realise that, you're like, oh my god, it's like going out on Sunday drive, because your body's just pinned to the seat. So
anyway, it's definitely subjective, but for like the Porsche stuff, the GT stuff, and even this, like I genuinely do believe they marker these cars against 911s.
Yes,
that's what they. Well, yeah, I see it for real. I see, you know, they'll bench it against this. This is, make no mistake, almost like I felt like turbo levels performance off the line. It's a crazy
it's not,
one car.
not far off that. Yeah, I think it's a very impressive car that ticks a lot of boxes, and yeah, it's as happy being a very cruisy. So if you take it out of, you put it into default, and it just cruises around. You wouldn't know the performance that's on tap, and then when you put it in the right modes, it turns into an absolute animal. And yeah, I mean that's impressive.
And on well, yeah, you put some Cup 2s or something on it, and suddenly you've just got a completely different game changer.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, man.
Talking of Cup 2s, should we head back and jump in the M2?
Yeah, let's finish, because this is going to be quite a long video anyway.
Yeah.
Let's finish this segment up anyway,
sure.
and we'll do something separate with the M2, probably chatting around the same sort of stuff. So yeah, check out that in the next video. Subscribe, like, share for that. Yeah, for this one, if you want to know anything about BMWs, watch anything you do. Basically, it's like you just literally the wizard of it all.
Oh, I don't know about that.
And like if I'm thinking of a BMW, I'm looking at your reviews, and yeah, great to kind of be out in your actual car. You know, this is where you put your hard-earned money.
Yes.
And it's a great car. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, stay tuned.
Yep.
Next video coming up.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Sam.
everyone.
Thanks for having me on, and I'll see you again soon.